Hey guys, I'm Eddie with Dopey Snail. You might have seen me on some D&D adventures.
Alright.
I was like, he said holy water, I only have beer.
And on various other videos on the channel. But today is all about DIY. We'll be taking a look at the lab's first 3-gallon vacuum chamber. We'll be doing some other projects with it, like making some silicone molds and also making some dice with them. But today we'll be taking a look at the chamber itself. So let's jump right in. So everything was pretty much inside the chamber. Attached to the lid was the box with all the little hardware and tools, and there's the seal, instructions, the vacuum hose, a grip mat. I did try to do it the hard way while working. So the first thing I pull out is the little hardware and spare parts. You got some extra O-rings, Teflon tape. Here's the gauge assembly, and then the valve assembly with a little filter at the end. Now let's start putting this thing together. First thing you're going to want to do is take off the lid's protective layers. Look at that nice shiny brand new acrylic. And then add the gasket to the lid. Pretty simple, just stretched it out. Once it started to stretch out, it pretty much slipped right in. This will keep the chamber sealed when you're pulling the vacuum on it. Here's the valve assembly. What I'm doing here is removing the nuts from both assemblies so that I can prepare them to get put onto the lid. Here we go. I took the tools out of the bag. Next step is to take the gauge assembly and putting the assembly together. So I take the gauge assembly and put it through the lid. And then I take the parts that I had for it, the nuts and washers, and added the washer and the nuts. And then just slightly tighten, and it says to make sure to deform the O-ring, so just slightly compress the O-ring. Doesn't have to be like super tight. You also don't want to break your acrylic. Now I do the same thing with the valve assembly and just push it through the top, add the washer and nut. I do the same thing, slightly tighten it until you can see the O-ring compress. Just double check. And that's the lid. You're pretty much done after this. Like, there's not too much more to do. Just sits on the top. Make sure when you're sitting it, you just sit it on top, and then you'll see when it catches. If you have to adjust the lid sometimes, but it just sits on top. Here's the vacuum pump. It's a very lightweight vacuum pump. The vacuum comes with some of its own vacuum fluid, so that's pretty cool. I ended up ordering some more just in case, just to have it. This is not made for long-term pumping, so to cure wood overnight, or this pump runs about 15 minutes before you need to turn it off. So you're gonna push the sleeve through that nut, and then you'll see right here there's a little cap to protect the threads. And go ahead and add some Teflon tape. They provide the Teflon tape, so that was kind of cool. This first time I kind of went really light, and just go ahead and use more than what I did, just because so that you don't, it saves you some time from having to go back and reattach it. And then just screw that down. There you have it. And the last thing I did was make sure to add the mat to the bottom. This is super grippy. It's really nice, and it keeps it. I couldn't really find which way was up or down on it, so I just went ahead and put it in, and both sides had grip on it, and it stuck to the bottom pretty well. Just make sure to work out those bubbles in it, and just make sure to like push it to the side so that the yellow has it. It was kind of hard to do it this way, so I went ahead and just had to use my legs to hold it while I was pushing in. Yeah, there you go. And then I just made sure that the sides had enough and that the bottom was completely, had no air. I connected the hose to the other sleeve, a 1/4 inch sleeve, made sure that it slid in and it would not come off. You can see then you attach the tube to the pump itself, and it just slides right in. It wasn't too hard to get it in. It seemed a little loose, but at that point it was also the place where the pump sucks the tube, so I wasn't too worried about it.
Here it is, fully assembled. Go ahead and like and subscribe so you can get notifications for the next video. Hope to do more projects with this. Go ahead and check out our Goners for Hire and our In Case You Missed It. We'll check you out next time.